That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.
One, two, three. Welcome back to this week's episode of the OneCast. What's going on, everyone? Pete is over in Pete's chambers over there at the crib. He just got off work. Ben and I are hanging out in the OneCast studio. And, man, we're here to talk fishing. We got a great guest lined up for you guys today. Repeat offender, good buddy of ours who fishes the NPFL. We'll bring him on here shortly. But before we do that, we're going to give you some partnership updates. OneCast Fishing. They're still here. Head on over to OneCastFishing.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word at checkout. Get your hands on all the snagless jigs, weedless nets, long neck hooks, soft plastics. Make sure you get your hands on those Nighthawks because they getting up on the bed here, especially in Central North Carolina. Speaking of Central North Carolina, if you're going to move here, you want to hit up Mr. Terry Carpenter with Howard Perry Walson and Caldwell Banker. He's a licensed real estate agent. He's going to get you squared away in Central North Carolina. Also, head on over and see our friends at Carolina Waters, CarolinaWatersNC.com. Use the code TheOneCast, all one word at checkout. You get all that UPF gear. While you're online, use that link. It's going to take you directly to Hobie Eyewear. Get your hands on all the different floating frame series. Some of our favorites are the Mojo floats. What's the other ones? The Hank Cherry Mojo floats, I think. There's a bunch of different ones on there, but the bottom line is they float. You're going to need the different lenses too. Right now, the Sightmasters is really going to come into play, especially if you're looking at them on the bed and you're running that lake and low lake conditions. And then finally, before your next fishing trip, download that Deep Dive app. Check out all the different features they have to offer and help you stay prepared to catch more fish and give you good starting points and bait tool selections. And then hopefully we're going to have a new partner come on board here. So more to follow with that. Updates real quick. If you are in the Central North Carolina area or outside of it, we are hosting the Take a Warrior Fishing annual Spring Warrior Clash at Jordan Lake on April 19th out of New Hope Boat Ramp. So even if you're not a boater or a warrior and you want to swing by and check out the event, please do so. We're going to have a bunch of stuff there. It's going to be a great event, great venue, a lot of good people, a lot of great support. Huge shout out to FLR Outdoors and Elevate Outdoors for helping us with that event and all the other partners that donated. Special Operations Bass Anglers has an event coming up on Jordan Lake as well on May the 1st, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So if you can't partake in ours, maybe you can swing on over and check out Special Operations Bass Anglers and sign up. That is a paying, like a regular bass tournament where you pay to play. Really cool people over there at SOBA. We always love to fish their events in November out at Lake Norman, but this year they're going to have 2 events, so check them out. Pete and I just wrapped up a Fishers of Men stop number 2 tournament. It was awesome. We came in 3rd place. Fish were all over the bed, and that is not how we caught them. We'll give you a deep dive later on with that. But that was
all you gotta know is I held a net for 7 hours.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
It happens, dude.
That little dangle, you
Seems
know,
to happen a lot, doesn't it?
I wanted that little dangle. It definitely does not happen a lot, but it definitely happened on this one because it was you can't scope with 2 people very effectively. So Trey did his thing and I held the net.
I had to turn on the black box, but I also admit to using the black box. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we had to do, man.
Some people get caught using it that admit to never using it. So I'm just throwing that out there. Won't say any names. What'd you just?
So like, if we want to go over old news, talking about using the box and not supposed to use it, Bassmaster put out a statement regarding the whole David Mullins situation.
Yeah.
So you can Google that. But basically, what happened is at the events, at the Tom Bigby event. Apparently, there was he did not pass the Bassmaster polygraph. He had his appeal, and then he passed an independent one that was approved by Bass, and I guess so not disqualified or anything like that. So
good for him.
That's probably the first appeal that's ever been won.
It was another Bass Railroad attempt. He had a questionable, a fail, a pass, and then they tried to say they weren't going to count his independent, and then they gave up and realized that David Mullins wasn't scoping in a non-scope event. They got to get this stuff figured out, man. It's going to leave a black eye. I still think I still like them out of the organizations, the two big ones. The NPFL is awesome in what it does, but of BPT and Bass, I think is still the gold standard, but they got to figure this stuff out. Like, it's ridiculous.
Speaking of bass, I don't know if you guys did this maybe while I was gone at Lake Eufaula for stop number 2 where I got my teeth kicked in. But there was an article that Bass published about a opens angler being completely banned and disqualified.
So I don't think we talked about that. I don't know the full details and Bassmaster.
I do. They released a statement. He put an air tag in another competitor's boat.
So that's what everyone assumed. I don't think the article said
Bass
air tag.
Bass released a statement. I'll go find it. I had the statement. They came out and said they put an air tag in somebody's boat.
Basically, he used the air tag electronic device to track other competitors.
I just want to let everyone know, if you have an iPhone, which I do not because I'm not part of that cult following. Just kidding. But if you have an iPhone and you stick an air tag on somebody's boat and it's their phone will recognize it as an foreign air tag in the vicinity of the phone. So if you're trying to get away with that, that's a really ignorant way to try to cheat. You shouldn't do it anyways. But if you do something like that, you ask for every single consequence that comes your way, dude. Like, that is disturbing, disgusting, to say the least. And that's all I'll say.
I only put air tags in boats of the Android peasants.
Oh, guys with Google phones.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. All right, we're getting off track here.
Yeah. Couple more updates real quick. Red Crest is getting ready to kick off Table Rock Lake.
It kicked off today.
Same
with the Arkansas River for Bassmaster.
Yep.
Red Crest is Arkansas is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, Red Crest starts tomorrow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it is today because we're dropping this. Yeah.
Exactly.
You got me.
Gosh, we're talking in the future. How crazy.
I'm so used to it being like 2 weeks out. I'm like, what do you mean it dropped? It started today. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anything else going on before we bring on our awesome guest?
No.
Pete, anything from you?
No, just cheating stuff. I mean, there was one other big one that's going around is the guy down there on Toledo Bend that brought a bass from another lake to a big bass bash and got caught. So he's facing up to 10 years in jail.
Oh my gosh.
That's
not because he moved a fish, but because he was attempting to steal people's money through deception
fraud.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's like that. That's the old like Lake Powell story when those people.
Oh yeah.
Their lake.
Other than that, man, I don't have anything ready to spend the next 2 weeks on Jordan Lake, basically.
Jacking him off the bed. Nah. All right, let's bring on our buddy here. We're going to talk about tournament preparation. We're going to talk about mental toughness and all that stuff. Josh Watkins, repeat offender, good buddy of ours. How you doing, bro?
Good. How you guys doing? Oh man, busy.
Yeah. So
it don't stop, everywhere we go. Trey, you and I got out about the same time, last year. I think I got out a couple months earlier than you, but I tell you what, it's been busy. The joke around here where I'm from is that everybody asks me, how you been, Josh? How you been? What have you been up to? I'm just like, man, it's been busy. And they're like, oh, you're retired. It shouldn't be busy, but we've always talked about leading up, transitioning out of the Army of, you got to find your new identity, and that's what I've been searching around, since I've been out for the last 9 months, is trying to find out. One, I'm too young. I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to be retired. I got to figure something out to do. And so I've been juggling a bunch of ideas. I just started a new idea. Again, we'll see how it takes off. Right now, it's taking off pretty good, to believe it or not. I'll go ahead and tell you. So I got out and I started this construction company, and it lit up, and it was more than I could buy it off. And so I kind of like ceased all movement, and so I could concentrate on Harris chain. And then I just realized, I was like, man, I can't find the right help to be successful in this, and you just can't do that kind of work, by yourself. And so I just adventured off in the last couple of weeks. My wife, Cheryl, she was like, you got to figure something to do. Like you're always around the house. If you're not fishing, you're at the house bothering me. And I'm like, buddy of mine, Austin Garland, he fishes in the NPFL. He's from North Carolina. He started a landscaping company, years ago, and he's like, dude, just dab into that. And so I've been dabbing in that, the last couple of weeks, and it's taken off pretty good. So that's what I've been doing
Heck
lately.
yeah. Dude, you bring up a really solid point. We have a lot of, active duty veterans and stuff that listen to this show. And, I heard somebody say it best, like if you don't have your third place, and that third place could be anything outside of your work and your immediate family, whether it's that sense of community or that sense of purpose and stuff. If you can't find that, the struggle is real, and that's the beautiful thing about the fishing community. At least in my perspective, like it really offers that to me, and I know it does to you, but you're not always fishing, and you live in the Northland area, the Midwest, so you can't fish all the time unless you're going to go out there on the ice and stuff. And I don't know anybody who wants to do that, but, so I get it, man. And yeah, being home every day, it can be depressing, dude. Like it can be really, really depressing, and you kind of get caught up in your own thoughts and you start bothering your family. That's a real thing. So any of you vets that are out there listening to this, if you're not into fishing or you're not into some other thing, like venture off and try to pick something to do and maybe see if you're interested in it. It might help you, light your life up a little bit. But that's cool, man. I'm glad you're chasing that venture. And the cool thing is if it doesn't go anywhere, then no harm, no foul, and you just move on to the next.
Exactly.
So, well, that's awesome.
The overhead cost up on that is very little. I have a lot of the equipment already, maintaining my property here and stuff. So I'm just going to see what happens. And the NPFL, whenever NPFL started, they said it was, for the working man's league, and the tournaments were spaced out, every 6 to 7 weeks. Well, as the years progress, if you look at this year, it's not every 6 weeks or so. It's like every 4 weeks. And I tell you,
Right.
like the turnaround is real fast. Like it's before you know it, like you're getting ready, pack back up and hit the road again. So I got to figure something out to kind of keep me busy, but still allows me to get on the water. Because I told you the last time I was on your guys' podcast, like my whole goal this year is to dedicate everything I can to the NPFL this year, whenever it comes to like fishing, and doing my best, like the absolute best. Like this is my third year with the NPFL, first year outside of the Army.
Yep.
And I didn't get back to the NPFL because of the Army this year. It's because of my hard work and dedication, that I set myself up prior to getting out, got me here. So, everything's riding on my shoulders this year. There's no excuses. I'm either going to catch them or I'm not. And so, again, like I said, I don't want to get tied down to an occupation or a career that I can't focus on the NPFL. So.
No, that makes sense, dude. Before we dive in for the audience on that first NPFL event, we were talking before the show, and you had a pretty cool local event, charity event that you kicked off. You want to talk to the group about that and what that was all about?
Yeah. So the charity tournament was for a scholarship for my local hometown high school. 2 years ago it started, and it was in the name of Russell Hood. Russell Hood was like a second dad to me whenever I was growing up. When it came to sports, whether it was golf, baseball, basketball, or fishing, like he was the person to go to. Like if you wanted any help, like he was your coach. And while I was in the service and stuff, he passed away like 4 or 5 years ago. And so his family started a scholarship in his name 2 years ago. It was doing good. It did good the first year. And then last year, for some reason, I don't know, it never happened. But since then, I got out of the Army, and they reached out to me. It's like, hey, can you be like the lead on this? I was like, absolutely. I jumped all over it. We had it April 4th, and we raised like $750 to give back to a kid this year graduating in his name, in his honor. Awesome event. We had Luz and Strike King donate a bunch of tackle. I had Evolve Fishing, gave me a bunch of rod sleeves. Bubba Scales gave me a bunch of Bubba Flay knives, some apparel, Bubba hats. All in all, I think we had $1,500 in raffle giveaways at the end of the tournament, which helped us, for that $750 scholarship at the end. So it was a pretty cool event. We also had hamburgers and hot dogs. So, I mean, it was it was a cheap tournament for people to get in, but it was for a good cause. So.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are our favorite tournaments, man. The charity tournaments, and even if you don't participate in them, I think it's important that, you know, professional anglers or guys that fish full time, guys and gals that fish full time, like if you're ever looking to, you know, we talk about it all the time, like marketing and promoting your own internal brand so that you can spread, you know, that message out to other businesses to maybe support you and stuff. That right there is one of the most important things that pro anglers can do, is getting involved in the community and showing them that outreach capability, because even though it's for the charity itself, so many eyes are on you during those types of events, how you interact with the people, how you talk to the camera, how you go about handling or conducting your business in a professional manner. Like all those things is a direct representation of your professionalism in the sport. You never know where that kind of stuff's going to lead to, even though it's not even geared towards that. You just may have a local business owner walk up that's heavily connected with the community and say, I really like what you're doing. I really want to support you along your journey. So if you guys are pro anglers out there or whatever, and you're listening to this, like get involved with your communities if you have the time, because it really, A, it's a good thing to do, and B, it can really pay off in the end. So, but that's awesome, man.
And one of my sponsors is the local Ford dealership, you know, down the road from me this year. They picked up on me this year, and June 6th, I think it is, June 6th. The Iron Ford is the dealership. They're doing a big barbecue, kind of like meet and greet with myself as the NPFL angler, you know, kind of local hero, because like I said, I'm from Southern Illinois. Like everybody thinks like, oh, you're from Illinois, you're from Chicago, you know, I'm like, there's not a lot of stuff to do around here. And so whenever somebody, you know, was successful in the Army for 20 years, got to fish for the Army, got to, you know, fish at this level and come back home, it opens the eyes of these kids. They're like, man, hard work, you know, dreams do come true if you just stick with it. So
yeah, there's two things. If I was from Illinois and I lived in Illinois, there's two things I would ask for if I was considered like the local hero. One, I don't want to pay taxes, and B, I don't want to pay tolls. I don't want to pay tolls in Illinois, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't stand it. I think I paid like $45 at a toll one time, dude. I'm telling you, it was pretty freaking terrible. But no, that's awesome, man. So I'm going to ask one more question, then I'm going to leave it to Pete and Ben, because I do this every time. Nope. Here we go. For the audience, Josh, talk us through NPFL stop number 1, Harris Chain of Lakes down in Florida.
Man, I tell you, what an awesome event! Like it was truly good. The guys in the top 5 or top 10, you know, caught them pretty good. It's 8 different bodies of water. It's a lot of water, so it could get overwhelming really, really fast and really easy. I did a lot of homework being the first tournament of the season. You know, everybody's wanting to kick it off good, finish, you know, either getting a check or just gaining a lot of points. And so I had 2 areas that I was going to 2 lakes I was going to fish. It was Dora and the Lake Dora and Lake Griffin. When I got there, I was looking at the weather, and
those are on opposite sides too.
Totally opposite sides of the chains. Like one's this way and one's, you know, 80 miles this, like 70 miles this way.
Yeah.
But that's what I was saying, because I didn't want to. The reason why I did that was everything I researched on the Harris Chain was that when you start jumping around at Harris Chain, you can find yourself burning a lot of time and not keeping that lure wet, and therefore it hurting you in the long run. So I knew that if I practiced in Griffin or if I practiced in Dora, day 1, if I went left, I was committed. If I went right, I was committed, because that's all I knew at the time. And so I just happened to practice on day 1 on Lake Griffin, and I wasn't even trying to catch him, and I cracked him, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know, 18, 19, pushing 20 pounds on day 1 up in Griffin, right at the mouth. I'll tell everybody, it was right at the mouth of the river, offshore grass.
Hey, that's where I've done some damage before, right? Just hanging out there at the mouth. Yep, I know exactly where you are.
I tell you, like it was. Well, so first off, I put in on the very bottom of the Griffin because that was the only ramp there. And I shot up towards the marsh. And the thing about Harris Chain and a lot of Florida lakes, they got those shiner poles. And being in Okeechobee and St. John's, I knew that they can produce fast fish or even a big fish at times. And so day one of practice, I shot over to a shiner pole and I was working a fluke and I had a limit within 15 minutes of 10, 12 pounds. And I was like, okay. And I ran to the next shiner pole just to confirm and shook a couple off. I was like, okay, I'm out. Ran up to the mouth of the river. And that's whenever I had 2 5s, a 4. It was like 20 pounds. And I was like, and that was all on a speed worm and a chatterbait. Yo-yoing it, yo-yoing that chatterbait out of the ripping it out of the grass. And I said, okay. So day 2 of practice, I kind of expanded, went into the river a little bit. It was good. People were catching them. I caught some fish up in the river, but the quality that at the time that I found was within like, it's going to sound big, but like 5 football fields, like 10 football fields. And I had a circle that, a kind of, what do you call that? Oh man, I can't think.
You had a zone?
You got a little zone.
Yeah, just a little zone, a milk run that I would go to.
Yep.
And so day 2, I left that alone and I fished down towards the ramp. If you're familiar with Griffin, there's a little bit of yarn that goes off to the left. If you come out of that ramp, it looked good. Didn't do any good. Did not do any good. They had some docks in there. I'm thinking, okay, I could take a swim jig or a chatterbait, and catch. Did not do any good. And I was like, uh-oh. I started to spin out a little bit. I'm like, I got to find something. Like, all the fish isn't just up in the north. Like, they're down here. Day 2 was horrible. Day 3 of practice, I said, okay, I'm going to go commit to Dora now because that was my backup plan. Went there, caught a limit again fast, but it was nothing big. It was like 8 to 10 pounds. I said, this ain't good. Ran around a little bit. I never went to the what is it? The Dora Canal, the mouth of the Dora.
Yeah.
I never made it that far. We were facing some pretty good winds.
Because what's the lake after? It's Beauclair, right after Dora, right? Right.
Beauclair. I fished in Beauclair and caught some.
Okay.
But it was periodically. Like it was nothing was consistent for me in Beauclair. Then I went from Beauclair, like I said, I stayed on the south bottom end of Dora. I went into Carlton. It's on the other side of Beauclair. It's known Beauclair and Carlton is known for hard bottom, shell beds, and stuff like that. I went and checked them. There was nothing on it. And from based off what I heard, like they weren't on it, throughout the tournament. So I had already spent 3/4 of my last day of practice on Dora, and I was just like, I'm not happy with this. My bigger bag came on day 1 at Griffin, so I loaded my boat up and I went back to Griffin. We were fighting some storms, not Griffin, but Harris. I said I got to go find me some last minute spots coming into the boat ramp, and man, that storm came through. It was horrible. Like I was taking waves over the boat. I said, this is not good. I loaded it up and I went back to the house, to the Airbnb. So that was my practice. Like I was like, what am I going to do? Like there's 8 bodies of water here. I said I was going to commit to Griffin. I was at Dora. Dora was a wash. So I committed all 3 days of the tournament in Griffin.
How was that first morning making that run from the launch all the way up to Griffin? Because it didn't sound like you did that before. You just launched in Griffin.
No, yeah. I just launched in it, and so these.
It's like an hour. It's like an hour and a half, isn't it? An hour. Well, probably an hour 15.
It was an hour 15.
Yeah.
It was an hour 15 from where we launched in Harris up to the mouth of the river in Griffin. It was an hour 15, and that's counting the lock.
Run.
And that's counting.
You got to go through the canal, you lock, and yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But no, I mean, it was like Harris. So that's the funny thing is, on day 1, you sold all the boats. They went left to Griffin, or they went right to Dora, Apopka that way. It was just like 2 trains going that way. I was like, well, I've never been this way, so I'm going this way. I'm following. Actually, I was following somebody because, like I said, I never made the run. I had it marked the beginning of the canal where I needed to shoot in, but on those long runs, you just kind of daydream, or you start thinking, you start running your game plan through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just following this boat, and he's veering off to the left, and I'm veering off, and I'm like, I zoom in, I'm like, this ain't. Oh man! And by then, 2 other boats passed me, and I was following a guy because I thought he was going to Griffin, and he was going to a little backwater off of Harris. And
he's probably thinking to himself, like, why is this guy following me?
No, but like I said, I still managed to get. Actually, I was the first boat out on the first rotation on the first lock through. Ray Hasselman, me and him come in together. Actually, I was in front of him, and I tell you what, he's an awesome guy, dude. Because of what he just did here. So they at first they said they could get 10 boats in the lock. So it was like boat to boat, bumper boats. I went ahead and let Ray go in front of me because I was going to have him take the left, and I was just going to shoot in the middle in between 2 other boats. Well, the lock master was like, all right, that's it, no more. They could only take 9. And like I felt bad for Ray because he looked at me and was like, oh, dude, I just cut you off. I'm like, buddy, you're good, you're good. Next day, he let me in front of him, and he got stuck back there. So I mean, it was
awesome.
cool. So that lock only had nine boats, but I mean, I still got through pretty fast. Like I say, pretty fast, but hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
but Ray Hasselman, he's a character. He's a good character. That was awesome.
Lake Griffin's the one where my engine blew.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, that's where.
Oh.
And I was able to get back all the way back to Eustis because I had launched at Eustis. But that's the lake I was on when it went.
So Ben's got some scar tissue there. I mean,
it's a great lake. I love fishing it.
Did your pattern on day 1 from your first day of practice, did it hold up?
Completely changed. Completely changed. So, like I said, I pulled up to those shiner posts because I figured that was a fast limit. It was some offshore grass. And it wasn't just the shiner posts I was focusing on. It was really, really good grass. And they'd killed a lot of it out. And it was hard to find the good, greener, more oxygenated grass. And what I was fishing in day 1 was with the fluke or the speed worm. And it was a no-go. It was more of not a speed worm, but a fluke and a chatterbait. Day 1 of the practice, I had to pick up the speed worm and just kind of just drag it through the grass and let it fall through the holes. And that's how I ended up catching them fairly quick on day 1, but my pattern completely changed. It was post-frontal conditions. We had those big storms come, and the temperature. When we first got there on day 1, like when you think of Florida, you think of sun, getting a tan and flip-flops. It was like 33 degrees. Like I launched that Griffin. I left all my cold weather gear here. And I'm going down Griffin. I had my hoodie on, and I mean, I was getting brain freeze in there. It was cold, buddy.
Did you dig your rain gear out?
So what's that?
Did you dig your rain gear out at least?
Oh yeah, I wore my rain gear. But it wasn't enough. Like when you know what I mean? Like it was when you go from 80 degrees to 40 in Florida, that's cold.
So how long did it take you on day 1 to put a limit together? Of 7 pounds, pretty fast. The limit was easy. It was getting from like 7 to 10 was very, very difficult on day 1 because it was that post-frontal conditions and stuff. I don't even know what I had on day 1. It wasn't much. It was like,
hang on, you had
it was
I had it here.
7 pounds. 7 pounds.
Yeah, it was 7. Yeah, 7. Yeah. 612.
Yeah. So, and then day 2, I think I had what?
11, 12.
Right. But day 2, it was all my fault. I think I talked to you, Trey, on the phone. Like I said, day 1, it was a grind. Like I said, I caught that limit fairly fast, but when you're sitting on 7 pounds and you're in Florida, you're just like, uh-oh, you done missed something. Like these guys are gonna hurt your feelings, and they did. Some of them did, but I tell you, it was tight from like 30 down to like 90 by the ounces. So I was like, went into day 2. I told Cheryl, I said, I'm still in it. Like I know what I saw on day 1 of practice, and they didn't just up and leave. Like they're there. I just got to get them to bite. And so day 2, I go right back out to where my little milk run was in the mouth of that river. And by then there was like 5 other boats. I'm like, uh-oh. And we're catching some fish and this and that. And I think I was setting at like 7 pounds or 8 pounds. And something just said to me, like, Josh, ditch it, like ditch the offshore. Like they're not biting it. Move shallow, go to the pads, get into the pencil weeds and the Kissimmee grass and do what I love to do. And that was just flipping. And if you know at the mouth of the river, you see that pole. There's a pole out there.
Yeah.
It's full of like pads.
All that pad line. Yep.
Yeah. I went there, threw a frog, cast a frog out there, caught one. It was, 2 and 3/4 good quality fish that I needed. Put it in the box. And then I went in, got a little deeper and started flipping. And we can't answer our phones and all that. And I learned a lesson to turn off my stuff. I can't. I got an Apple Watch, and if I don't have it on me, I feel naked without it. And talking about the beginning of the show, I put on that charity tournament. Well, my phone is blowing up, and in tournament, I mean, I could have just took a couple seconds and just silenced it or ignored it. Well, I flipped into this mat, and as soon as I flipped in, my watch is going. So I go like this.
So annoying.
And I go like this to kind of ignore it.
Yeah.
And I feel my rod go like this. And I go into, and man, no, I've caught some big fish. I've caught a 10 from Florida. My dad boated 11 and a half. Like I know what a big fish looks like. And I know it was a bass. And it was a monster. And it pulled. By the time I could get a good hook set, I was fishing braid, and it was just singing. He came up, he jumped, and my line was like caught up in the pad, stems and all that. I said, "This ain't good. This ain't good." He went back down. I thought he jumped again and spit it out, and I'm just like, "Holy cow!" So, Josh, 2 years ago or even last year, I'd have broke my pole. I said, "Oh God!" So I kept my cool.
Big ones live there.
I said, big ones are here. And so I kid you not, man. I went down the bank a little bit, 20 yards, flipped in there, set the hook, comes off. I'm like, what the heck, man? Flip back in there, same spot. I'm not missing it. So I pull out, look at my hook. Hook is sharp, like it's sticky. I'm like, something's going on. And anyways, I go back in there and I miss another one. Monster, probably about 40, 50 yards down from where I just missed that one. And when I tell you, I told Cheryl when I got home or when I got, back home for the night, I said, "Babe, I never almost puked in my life on the boat." I think I even did a story. I said, I lost 3 fish that would have had me in 22 pounds. I bet it was.
Yeah.
And because they were big, they were 8+ pound fish. And I kid you, I didn't even get mad. I stood there for a second. I got my GoPro. I need to go through it. And I was just like talking to myself, like, what just happened? Like I just missed 2 key fish. And I just felt sick, dude. Like I almost was like dehydrated, just like, about ready to go. But I mean, day 2, I had the opportunities. I just missed them.
Well,
And-
go ahead, Ben. Go
Well, I was just gonna say about the big ones living there. I guess this is 6 years ago, and I was down there with Sam, about 100 yards from where you were talking at, maybe a couple hundred yards. A guy caught a 14 pounder. He was on
I believe it.
Sam and I were flipping that, fishing that eelgrass out there in the mouth you were talking about, rattle traps, chatterbaits, and this guy was sitting on the bank there, just to the east of the mouth of the river for like 6 hours
with a shiner.
No, he was flipping, but he was there for 6 hours. So we were like, oh, he must have a good one on the bed. And about 2 days later, Sam and I were fishing the canal just like west of the mouth, one of those canals there on the west side of Griffin. And we came across a local, and he was like, "Yeah, but guy in my club caught a 14-pounder 2 days ago out here." We're like, "Well, we saw him because he was there for 6 hours on that bed."
Well, speaking of that, Josh, what did you learn that they were doing on day 2?
Yeah.
Thanks for stealing my question, Trey. I thought you were
done. I'm
done.
sorry. I'm
No,
done.
you said you were done.
No, Pete, you go ahead and ask.
No, you asked it now. I mean, I know exactly what they were doing.
Oh, they were still up there spawning. They legit. Like they and I knew, and so I even checked. So in the first day of practice, I went around and was looking, and I found beds, but they were all empty. And I'm like, okay. So I kind of just washed that out for a second. That's whenever I went to the shiner poles and the offshore grass.
Yep.
And where I was fishing, I won't tell the angler because I don't. Where I was fishing in day 1 of practice, this guy caught an 8. He caught a 7. I caught 2 5s, almost a 6, all within my milk run. And I'm like, dude, the spawn's over. They're feeding up now. I'm like, I just landed on a bunch of them. No. They were still spawning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those fish were sliding up. So, Josh, explain to folks listening how you figured that out on day 2. Like, what I knew exactly what was going on when you just told the story on those 2, those fish you missed. But
Well, I
explain to the audience kind of how you figured it out.
I knew exactly what was happening whenever, and that's why I didn't get mad. I was just like, because what I was missing them because they were just picking it up and just letting go. They weren't committing. They were just grabbing it and letting go. And the only one that I thought really had a chance was that big one that I had it hooked a couple times. It was just my dumbass was playing with my watch.
Well, you also know, I mean, you've been fishing long enough, and Trey's gotten really into the bed fishing thing. If you're bed fishing, whether you're looking at them or not, you are going to lose some of those fish. They just don't eat right. It's really hard to get a good hook into them, and you're going to lose some. And that was a key. But for everybody listening, the reason I wanted him to repeat that is if you're blind flipping cover like that and you're missing fish and you're thinking it's you, it's probably not you. This time of year, it's exactly what Josh said. Those fish are on the bed. They're not eating it. You're either feeling them blow it off the bed or they're just picking it up and dropping it. They're not actually eating it, which is why you can't get a hook into them. So it's a huge piece of information to know this time of year.
I also think it's kind of crazy they were still up there doing that. One, it was a little late, but I don't think it was late this year because this was a cold winter and we had all that snow and stuff. But 2, that was after the cold front, that storm and stuff. And like, we know how Florida fish are.
And the water temperature dropped. I'm not kidding you, 10 degrees. Like it moved. The bottom fell out. Like it was cold, but they were still up there.
I think they've had
Go ahead.
Florida's had a bunch of those cold fronts too, like that this year. It was kind of an odd year down there where it would get warm and then they'd get those couple 30-degree days and it was dropping water temps, talking to folks we know that live down there. So it doesn't surprise me that stuff got prolonged.
Yeah. I mean, people, we think we know all the time. Right. We have these magical numbers in our head, these magical conditions in our head. But the bottom line is fish are going to be fish and they're going to do what they want to do. And we're seeing it here in North Carolina right now. And Josh, I'm glad you said what you said about the whole bed fishing thing. And Pete brought it up. That is a great way to not catch fish, especially if you can't see them, right? If you can't see the fish pull a nighthawk or a strike king rage bug or whatever you're using on the bed into its mouth to set the hook, and you just feel a thump or tug or whatever, man, you do lose a lot of fish. Ask me how I know. I only had 2 fish on day 2 at Eufaula, and I had 0 fish on day 1. So, I mean, that stuff happens, man. And we lose them even when we are sight fishing for them. So, but you learned something about that day, and you were still able to put a limit together.
Right. And I'll tell you, the season just started. We've only got 1 tournament on, but, like, my whole goal, like, and everybody's gonna say, "Oh, he's full of crap," or like. And I told you this on a lot of way homes, on a lot of drive homes. Like, I fish because it's fun. I love the competition. I don't need the money. Like, the money's a bonus, of course. I just like being out there fishing against some of the best guys that's ever done this ever. And so, like, my whole goal is to, of course, cash a check. But
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, my goal is to bring a limit every day of each tournament and then qualify for this championship coming into next year. Like those are my only two goals. And I did the math. I'm not Ken Duke or anything, but I know that if you bring a limit in every day of each of these tournaments, you're going to be right on that cut line of making that championship.
100%.
Yep.
And so that's how I'm going again. I just finished rigging up for Millwood, and I ain't gonna lie, like I'm going to catch limits, and if I catch big ones, it's a bonus.
If you talk to anybody at any high level of angling, 5 fish is the most important part of that. If your goal is to qualify for the Classic or the NPFL Championship or Red Crest at in the BPT or your local club, if you're trying to win AOI, catching 5 fish is the most important thing you can do. Of course, everybody wants to go win, but when you're fishing in anything where points are important, 5 fish are really the most important thing, and then you can worry about going and winning that thing.
Yep.
Bro, I haven't brought in a limit at all this year in the Bassmaster Opens. Like, it is the most disturbing feeling
I've been there, buddy.
It's so disgusting. You're like, bro, how is this freaking possible? But you know what though, Josh, and I have to give you a lot of credit, dude. No matter what happens to you on the water, and we say this all the time, you are always a steward of the profession on the stage. It doesn't matter if you have 5. It doesn't matter if you have none. It doesn't matter if your engine blew up, which it hasn't, but I hope it doesn't. Like, you always maximize the short period of time that the league gives you behind the microphone. And I think that that's a message to all anglers out there, regardless of the platform that they're given. Use that time wisely. And you do such a great job at it. Yep. And it's something that I pride myself on too, is getting behind the mic and thanking those that make it possible, thanking our veteran community, and spreading the message, man.
I want to echo that because, when Trey's down there, I pull up the Open to watch him come across stage. Same with Mike Johns, and Mike Johns actually does a really good job too, because he's promoting veteran suicide prevention and what he does with FX3. But like, so many guys are just like, oh, I didn't catch him today, or literally it's how they sound.
Yes.
Like it is absolutely, it's kind of disgusting. It's like, yeah, it wasn't a good day for you, but you're on the water fishing, but you're here representing probably a lot of people. Take that 30 seconds to a minute and do what you're supposed to, do you. I mean,
you know how the crowd knows it wasn't a good day? They can see your freaking tournament.
They can see your weight. All I got to do is look at the weight. You ain't got to tell them it was a bad day.
Yeah.
I've never got that. Dude. I didn't catch him today. No shit. You had one for 14 ounces. We can see that you didn't catch him. You don't need to tell us that.
You didn't catch him. Yeah, but you know what I did catch? I caught this audience, man, and you guys are awesome. Thank you for showing up. Check out OneCast Fishing, right? Like, that kind of stuff goes so long, such a long way, but
it does.
So you brought it up, and let's take it home with this. You said Lake Millwood. So let's talk about the recent changes to stop number 2, why the changes happened, and talk to the audience about how you're going to adjust to that change of venue.
Yeah, so NPFL put out yesterday, which all the anglers knew the last few weeks going, leading up to today or yesterday, that stop 2, which would have been Wright Patman Lake in Texarkana on the Texas side, was in limbo of whether we were going to fish it or whether we weren't. And if we weren't, were we just going to cancel the tournament or cancel that stop and postpone it, maybe move it to a later month in October or something, or were we going to find another lake? So information, I mean, NPFL staff, like always, and I'm not, kissing ass or nothing like that, but like, they worked hard and busted their butt to ensure that we had a stop 2 in line with the regular schedule that was produced at the beginning of the year. And so, because of Wright Patman, the Corps of Engineers controls that lake. They're doing some work, and they drew down Wright Patman. It's been down for months. I think they even, whenever NPFL announced the schedule, Wright Patman was down due to maintenance and other stuff like that. Well, the word was they were going to let the water come back up. We were going to fish it, and everything was going to be good to go. Once we left, they were going to drop it, finish up their work. Well, anybody that's been on Wright Patman, I was there my first year. I don't even want to talk about it. Like it was a horrible event. But
Was that
it's a
the one
very,
with the
very-
water high? Was that the
yeah,
high
in the
water
bushes,
one?
like
Yeah.
that was with Baron Adams and Ryan Satterfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it was awesome. But I lost a lower unit. Like if anything went bad or with anything went wrong on year one with me, it was every tournament I had something going on. It was like the good Lord was like literally testing me out. But anyways, that lake is very treacherous. Like it was dangerous and a lot of standing timber. The lake's not really marked with boat lanes. It is, but it isn't. So if you're not a local, if you haven't been on it, like you really gotta watch yourself, or you're gonna waste a lot of time idling in. So to fish it, I think for a pool is like 220, but for some reason that's what it doesn't make sense. Like 220, you can't get out. You can't get out of Sportsman Cove. Like you can't run a lot of areas. It needs to be 224 and a half. And so for the last couple of weeks, the Corps of Engineers is letting it go up. And I've been watching, it was going 221, 222, and then it paused at 223 and a half. So we were still about a foot short. And some people are like, oh, you can fish that. Ain't not that late. It's too dangerous. NPFL is not going to put their anglers out like that. So what they did, we jumped over, across the street or across the town to Arkansas side, and Lake Millwood is over there. It's like a 20,000 acre lake. It sets up. I'd say again, I've never been to Millwood, but from what I've researched, it's standing timber, just as dangerous, but it's good. I mean, it's got river, backwater sloughs, grass, cypress trees. It's not deep. It's stained water for the most part. I know we got a lot of water or rain coming in, so it might get it muddy, but like it's if there's a tournament without live scope, that's the kind of tournament you want, where you can kind of already pre-target the fish. You already know where they're going to be at. So yeah,
I'll
I
say
think the
this.
deepest part of that.
Well, I was gonna say because this is all public information. I think the record bass out of there is like 14 pounds.
Oh my god!
And I think like a few years ago, or I don't know how recently, but they stocked like 8 million Florida bass in there.
Right. And so I do know Ryan Satterfield posted something. I know he guides out there, but as soon as they made the change to us, like we couldn't get any information. Like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, they said, "Hey, you can't get information on Wright Patman or Millwood until we make a decision." So Ryan hasn't been out there doing his guiding or anything like that, but he is like a local hero, like the local favorite to do well in this tournament. He posted a tournament last week, I think it was, maybe 2 weeks ago, and it took like almost right at 39, 40 pounds on 2 days. So like 20-pound bags are still, you know what I mean? Like it's still gonna show up.
Yeah.
The little research I found, water's still setting, 65, upper 60s, pushing 70. So like just like we got done talking about Florida, like is it gonna be like one spawning? No, but there's still fish gonna be spawning, they're gonna be post spawning and all that. So like it's going to be. I believe it's going to be a good tournament. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to watching to see the results because I don't. Quick Google search. I don't think Bassmaster FOW BPT's ever been there. So this is complete.
New venue for
Ryan,
national touring.
I don't know if we can bet on the NPFL. Ryan's got a huge advantage being a guide out there compared to everybody else. But
just the fact that knowing where to run, like. I mean, it is marked a lot better than Wright Patman, but like if you pull up, anybody can pull up Google, dude, there's cypress trees everywhere. Yeah. And the videos that are out there online on public, I mean, it's obvious. Like you can tell where everybody's at. They're not on the lake. They're in the backwaters or they're up the river. Like, so you just gotta. Like I was talking about going to Griffin and daydreaming, like you can't daydream on this lake. You got to pay attention. So
so
it's also not a giant lake.
No, it's
only 20,000 acres.
Yeah. But I was looking on. I was looking on the Google map, or if quickly, but like those backwaters, they call it a bayou. Like there's a lot of like areas you can probably get in there that it probably fishes much bigger than that without acreage.
Where were they? Before this last one, where was the league? Where Christy?
Tom Bigby River.
mean, you see Fighter and Christie kind of like sneak off from the launch and went into this little backwater. I think that's exactly how this. I think it's going to set up very similar to that.
Yes, that's similar. Yeah.
Do you guys have, sun tournament organizations? Bass has off limits areas as far as like fishing around the ramp, stuff like that. Does the NPFL have any off limits areas for this that you know of yet?
Not that I know of. They have in the past, but like Brad says, and like it's so hard to police. Like there's just imaginary. Ain't nobody out there with a rangefinder seeing how close you're getting to the ramp or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he, for the most part, it's no off limits and basically be smart and use good judgment. Like don't fish all the way up to the dock. I know some guys do.
Dang
they get
it.
embarrassed, but
Just look at that juice.
I hate how the docks are off limits, dude. Honestly, they're holding a bunch of fish from local derbies and stuff like that. Can you kind of walk the audience through like, knowing a little bit about the lake from your open source research and knowing about the water levels, the water clarity? What are you going in there with practice? Like, what are your key baits that you're going to use for practice?
And you totally don't have to say anything if you don't want to, because it's just coming out before the tournament, so we can always recap.
No, it's okay.
Or you can just make it up and say you're going to use a jitterbug or something.
I promise you, 90%.
I wish it would be the
90% of the field is going to be using the same.
Doing the same thing. Yeah, you're right.
I promise you.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though. I took my 360 off my boat just because it's a lot easier to get off than my Mega Live 2. Because I'm going to pull that troll motor up and I'm going to go in some skinny waters. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Sir.
You got a push pull?
Oh yeah, it's already on the boat.
Yeah. Looking at it, you might need that there.
So your spinner baits, your chatter baits, I just got tied on. Your horny toads, some sort of flapping frog, or a walking bait of a frog, a flipping bait, and I'm telling you, my favorite, man, you can't leave the house without it. That old wacky worm on cypress trees, they flat out catch fish. So that's my line.
Yeah.
Spinner bait, chatter bait, flipping, a frog, and a wacky. That's my 5 baits.
How many baits or how many rods after practice would you like to have it dialed down to for day one of the tournament?
I would like to have 2. I would like to have a frog bite in the morning, catch some good fish, feeding up, and then if I could crack them on a spinner bait, that would be fun. I could cover a lot of that backwater cypress trees with the spinner bait, burning it, the spinner bait and a frog. If you told me I had 2 rods, that's what I'd go with.
Frog and a spinner bait. I like those options right there. I like those a lot. I think the NPFL I know the NPFL made a great call, man, like switching you guys over to another venue. I don't think I hear a lot of people complain and stuff on different tours and things like that about like, I'll just say this. We had people pack their stuff and leave, right? Yeah, like they got so upset and pack their stuff and leave. And I'm like, why would you do that? Whether or not it's fishing good or not, everybody has the same conditions to fish and same opportunities to catch them or not catch them in my case. But it doesn't mean pack your crap and leave. And, when the organization makes a call like that for angler safety, dude, that's the most respectable thing they could do. And the cool thing is everyone's been doing a whole bunch of research on Wright Patman for a long time, and now they're not going there.
And except for Ryan, no one's probably ever been there.
Well, Ryan,
I know Ryan.
I wonder how many are going to follow Ryan around.
Maybe Hunter Bogman might have been.
Yeah.
I think Hunter might have been there a couple times.
Yep.
And he just catches them everywhere, man. Hunter Bogman, he is.
That dude is
fish brains.
I'm just telling you, he's special, man. But back at Wright Patman, and Brad didn't just move it because we weren't going to catch him or because the water wasn't in the bushes, and he did it for a safety reason. That's the only reason why we left.
Yep.
Now I'll tell you, Wright Patman, if we would have went, it would have fished so small because if you didn't know how to get up in the river, you were only. I'm telling you, there's only 2 or 3 spots on that lake areas that are going to hold fish. And so it was going to fish super small. I still do believe that there's still going to be a bunch of fish caught at Millwood,
Yeah.
but I think it's going to fish small. One, it is a small lake, but I think it's really going to fish small. I think you're really going to have to crack them on day one. Like, there's a tournament. I think there's a 50 or 60, 75 boat tournament on our first day of practice. So there's already a little bit of pressure on a small lake. And then you got these 118, 120 anglers on the NPFL, and I'm guilty of it sometimes, but they're going to catch fish during practice. And then you got 6 days to that lake is going to get pressured. So catching them on day one and capitalizing on all your bites is going to be key. I guarantee it.
Dude, let me tell you, every single person in this room or on this show knows this. But for those of y'all listening, if you fish tournaments and you show up on a practice day and you got like a 300 boat high school tournament or a 60, 70 boat tournament on Millwood, like Josh is talking about, and then you got 120 to 185 anglers fishing the same exact body of water, you better have a wacky worm tied on tournament day. Because I'm here to tell you that you want to talk about fish being pressured, dude. Other than a koiki ball with forward-facing sonar, a wacky worm is about your second best option when it comes to catching those highly pressured fish. And dude, I was like you, Josh. Like in practice, like there was a 300 boat high school tournament. There was 185 opens anglers, and I had a great practice, fantastic practice.
It's actually above full pool right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, but you talking about fishing behind hundreds of people and hundreds of baits and including local pressure. Like you have like finesse or really, really, really big baits. And don't get me wrong, some of those guys that get into some of those backwater areas and have it to themselves, the Hackneys, the Christies, and some of those other special cases and stuff, like I get it. They can get away with that. But if you can't find something that's just yours that you're catching fish on, like there's a way to not catch them. And I have figured that out. I have figured that out. So
and going into this lake or this tournament, like, so during practice, like there's two ways that you're going to beat yourself before you even put the boat on the water. And that's projecting the weather. Like during the practice, it's supposed to be beautiful. And then come tournament day or off day, it's going to dump on us for all 3 days. It's going to be miserable. People are going to be disgusted because we're over there at a new lake at last minute. And then they're going to be like, it's fishing small. But I'm telling you right now, like I already said it, like I don't care. It can monsoon on me. I don't care. And then the second thing is I know I'm going to fish behind people. And so like get disgruntled because some guy went 500 yards and started fishing, like you're going to do it to another guy later on down the day.
Yep.
I promise you, just get it out of your head, put your head down, grind her out, and catch your fish. Because you're going to catch fish behind people. So there's two things. I'm telling you, there's going to be a handful of anglers, and I hope I'm not. I'm going to stay positive about it, but there's going to be a handful of anglers that get in their truck Friday or Saturday this week, and they should have just stayed home because they're going to beat themselves before they even put the boat on the water.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. One of the things I would challenge the audience to is not only fishing behind other anglers, you will catch fish, especially if you learn how to slow down and finesse those fish. Also fish behind yourself. I'm a huge advocate of that. Pete and I do it all the time. We'll literally turn the boat in a 180, especially if you're fishing like shoreline cover, and we'll fish behind ourselves because you may go down that stretch with a spinnerbait or a frog, and then you turn around and you go down it with a whack. Or you throw a flipping bait and slow it down, right? And the more and more you start to spin out, and people say it all the time, the faster and faster you start to fish. It's the hardest thing to do is absolutely pump the brakes, put your hand in your pocket, and throw a finesse bait out there or dead stick something for an extended period of time. But I'm telling you, those bass, you give them more time to make a decision especially if you're not getting reaction strikes, you give them more time to make a decision on whether or not they want to commit to that bait. So I think you got a really solid plan for Millwood, and dude, I'm really pumped to see you do really well at this event and keep catching limits, dude. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yep, doesn't matter. Like I said, you got to bring 5. You got to bring 5
That's
in
right.
to even stand a chance. So,
yep,
I don't care if
absolutely.
they're 7 pounds or if they're 15. 15 is awesome, but I'll take 7.
Pete, Ben, what do you got?
I'm just looking at the map here at Millwood.
I don't have anything. You asked every question I had, so
I always do it.
I know some places I want to go check out, but I can't say it.
Are you
that you did? I just want to go on record with everybody, for our listeners and Josh, that Trey said he wasn't asking more questions and then asked every question.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He can't stop himself.
I get excited. About fishing. Look, I got this blister on my finger from catching so many fish on Saturday that, I've taken the last couple days off and I'm ready to go start yanking on them again. So I get excited when I talk to people about fishing because I really want to be out there. But are you going to hit any lakes on your way back? What is NPFL stop number 3? Where's it at?
So it's late. So we go to Millwood this week, and then we go to Lay Lake and Logan Martin back to back on the Coosa River.
Are you pre-practicing lay?
I'm not pre-practicing any of them. Nope.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Just because don't get me wrong, it could be beneficial, but I did pre-practice in the years past, and like I said, it can be beneficial. But buddy of mine, Jeff Sprague, told me, and even Watson tells me, he's like, dude, you're going to go ahead and you're going to get unless you're going there to mark specific targets. If you say, hey, I'm not going to fish and I'm just going to look for offshore rock piles or brush piles, that's different. But a lot of guys, I don't care, they'll go out there and they'll fish and they'll burn their pre-fish fishing and not doing their homework. And I'm just as guilty because everybody loves. I'm just going to save my time. I got 3 days of practice.
Yep. No, dude, you're absolutely right. I will tell everybody that the only thing that has been beneficial for me in pre-practice is creating boat lanes. Outside of that, everything, I haven't caught a single fish. I've only caught 2, 5, 7 fish in 2 tournaments. And I'll tell you, in pre-practice, I haven't caught a single keeper off of anything that I did in pre-practice. So I'm not saying it doesn't work for some people. Some of these lakes are so hazardous, i.e. Santee Cooper, Wright Patman, so on and so forth. Like it'd probably be a good idea to get a boat lane created and some trails and stuff like that. But outside of that, dude, like pre-practice, man, unless it's maybe like a Great Lake or a brush pile lake.
Put you a leash on your boat and then put her on the drain plug and let her eat, bud. You'll be fine.
The last tournament, I stand correct. The last tournament, I may make a pit stop coming back from St. Lawrence to Lake George down there, just because I've never seen it. I will probably do that.
Okay,
that's gonna be a fun one.
Well, heck yeah, man. We're looking forward to seeing it. Hey, real quick for the audience, shout them out, bro. Who's got your 6 this year? And where can everybody find you?
Right. Everybody can find me on Instagram at Josh Watkins Fishing. And like I said in the beginning of this podcast, the last couple of years, I had the United States Army behind me and cover me and allow me to live out this dream of mine. But as I retired, I knew I'd been doing the homework and putting the grind on to find endorsements and sponsors. So this year, I got picked up by Luz and Strike King in the Rather Outdoors. So on Luz, they have a American Hero program, and I'm part of with Jamie Caldwell. I'm part of their program. So every American Hero rod and reel that gets sold, a percentage of that goes back to Rather Outdoors, and therefore it goes out to a military organization in order to get vets out on the water, whether it's for outdoor therapy or just for fun. So I'm super, super proud. Actually, if you look over there, I got about 25 rod and reels to give away throughout the year at the NPFL stops, just to bring awareness, and kind of like you and Mike Johns do with, veteran awareness and all that. So I knew it was very important for me to get out of the Army and align myself up with companies that had the same value and beliefs that I stand by. I changed my boat, to red, white, and blue. I'm a patriot inside and out. I don't live the military life. You'll see some veterans out there that can't let it go. That's not me, but I do live the values that the military has, pushed on me. And so it was very important to get behind an organization like Lou's. Also got involved with Evolve Fishing, who makes the rod sleeves. Awesome company. I fit 30, 40 rods in my rod locker, pull out any one of them at any given time and not get snagged up. So if you're looking for any rod sleeves, go over to Evolve Fishing, check them out. I also got picked up by a local Ford dealership here. I just got a new truck. It wasn't free.
We saw that.
I had to pay for it, but I got a pretty good deal on it. No more pulling it with a half ton. I got a 1 ton. Have 350.
Just as soon as diesel prices just dropped, right?
Oh, man. It hurts. But no, I have a handful of organizations that, and companies that kind of stood behind me this year and allowed me to get out there and kind of see what I can do, what Josh Watkins could do without the Army. And so I'm super proud of them. Thanks, guys, for having me on. I hope I crack them next week. We'll see.
You're going to crack them. I do want to say this as we got Josh on here, Ben, myself, Pete, who all support the veteran community, Mike Johns, Jamie Caldwell, the list goes on and on and on. I feel like we're building even a larger network of people supporting the veteran community. I don't think it's ever been as big as it is now. And we're continuing to grow. And, getting vets out on the water is so important because every single one of us knows how much therapy the outdoors has to offer. Josh, what you did at that last event, at the first event where you brought that vet up on stage, I think, and you gave that American Hero Series rod and reel away, that was awesome, dude. Like, that was a huge, just another act of selfless service to give back to those who gave so much, right? And so, whether it's through American Hero, Take a Warrior Fishing, FX3, Special Operations Bass Anglers, the list goes on and on and on. OneCast Fishing being a veteran-owned company, man, like, we are all about supporting the veterans, and that is the most important thing for me fishing the tour, and I know it is for you. And then, remembering those. We have a lot of buddies that were sacrificed throughout the global war on terrorism and so on and so forth. And we want to honor their lives. And we get such a small space to do it. But that small space is highly respected, man. So whether or not it's Bassmaster, the NPFL, the Major League Fishing, the Fishers of Men, any of your club tournaments, all that stuff, your social media, that's an opportunity for you to spread positivity and spread a message. Josh, you do such a great job at doing that on stage, man. You never talk about how the fishing sucked. You talked about everything else that mattered. So we really appreciate you. Stay on the line. Don't hang up. We're going to end this. Guys, if you have questions or anything like that, if you're a veteran out there struggling, just know you're not alone. You can reach out to any single one of us on this show. You can hit us up in our DMs. There's also the Veteran Crisis Hotline that you can call. Mike Johns is always out there. He posts his phone number publicly with FX3 Inc. You guys are not alone. Mike Johns is on a Your Life Matters Tour 2026, man. Josh is out there spreading the message. We appreciate you, Josh, so much, helping us continue to grow a culture of anglers, helping anglers one cast at a time.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, God, it's a toad, son. It's a toad, dude.
Yeah. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.